Setting up your webinar for live. And we are live.
All right. Hi, everybody. This is Glenn Ackerman with Energy Awareness Training. Welcome to our Sunday regular broadcast that we do on different aspects of energy awareness. So let me give you a little preface of this for people that are new, and then we'll bring on our guests and we're going to have a rocking time. We're going to be talking about energy and how energy affects you and how it's probably one of the most important things that you can study. You know, you think about energy, well, what's that? I'm not talking about solar power. I'm not talking about petroleum. I'm not talking about fairies who fly through the sky with crystals. I'm talking about our energy. And basically, echoing what Nikola Tesla said many years ago when he said that if you really want to understand the secrets and the mysteries of life, then you'll start looking at things in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So what energy awareness training is, we've been able to identify the hidden energetic aspects of everything that we're dealing with in life. So we're going to be talking about today, and you're going to get some key insights that, boy, nobody's teaching, but we are here, about how to be able to use energy awareness, to be able to see more, to be able to do more, to be able to have more, because you have more, you have more information about a subject. And so I'm going to explain how all that works here in a second. I've got my good friend, Will Couchman from the UK on the broadcast today. As people are coming on, please say hi to us as you're coming on. Tell us where you're from and do a shout out as you're coming on. Will, coming in from the UK, I'm going to formally introduce him here in a minute when we get started, but just wanted to say hi. How are things over in the UK, Will?
Everything is great. The weather's finally turning warm after we've had a fairly grim June. I was telling Glenn the other day, it rained for 6 days and nights consecutively, and it hasn't done that for a long time. But it seems to be warming up. I was able to wear a t-shirt today, which in June apparently is a novelty. Yeah, things are good.
Beautiful. All right. Well, we're going to be hearing from you here in just a second. As people are coming, as you're coming on, just go ahead and say hi. Tell us where you're from. It helps us get the broadcast out. More people participate, the more we're able to get out and help more people. So as I mentioned before, this is our broadcast on different aspects of energy awareness training. And to be energetically aware is probably going to be the leading technology for personal development and a human change coming up here in this emerging decade. Here we are at the tail end of the first decade of the millennium, and so many things are changing. So many old paradigms are shifting. And one thing that never shifts, though, is that people want change. We all want to change our lives. You know, we're here and we want to be here, and we want to get whatever's in the way of getting us here. We want to be able to move that out and have a happy and fulfilled lives. And I know that I was a connoisseur of personal development for a lot of years, because I had stuff inside me that I wanted to change. And I tried to change it and I couldn't, you know, and it's stuff like internal, like anxiety or fear or worry or doubt, or having to deal with this negative voice in your head that's always trying to put you down, or it's always trying to spin things negatively. You ever wonder about that? I mean, if there's one thing that we would learn, you would think that they would teach us in school, which isn't the purpose of school to help us get through life? I mean, that's why we learn math, right? So we can add and subtract, you know, money or figures. supposed to help us in life, right? Geography, I guess, knowing the capital of North Dakota, is supposed to give us a better quality of life. Never did for me or learn. And so much of the things we learn, algebra, geometry. Well, if you're a mathematician, great. But for most of us, most of that stuff never panned out. But one of the things that they could have taught us that would have been really valuable is how do we deal with this negative voice in our head? How do we deal with thoughts that come up that disturb us, that want to scare us, that want to frighten us, that want to take us down dark roads? No one ever taught us about that. No one ever even said that this thing exists. So all of us go walking around in school and hearing this voice that says you're not good enough, or the kids don't like you, or you're a dummy when it comes to school, or you're too smart, the kids won't like you because you're so much better than they are. Whatever that is, and it fills us with dread. And I certainly had this voice. And if you're going through any kind of upset and drama, or trauma, what I call it, and who isn't in high school, in junior high growing up, being a kid growing up, you're trying to fit in, you're trying to learn about the world, you're trying not to get made fun of, or people, bully you for whatever it is that you are. And all of us kids are trying to move forward through this gauntlet of not only dealing with the kids, and being accepted, but also the thoughts in our head, head. And if you came from any, shall we say, disturbing households, if that ever happened to you, and you grew up and your mom and dad were fighting a lot, or your family was fighting a lot, or there was, alcoholism in the house, or there was just plain misery in the house, that even compounded that voice in your head. Now, all of us in the process of growing are experiencing these things that we talk about in energy awareness training, dealing with the energies inside of us, as well as dealing with the energies outside of us. And when I became energetically aware, when I started learning from all the different places that I'd come from, the different teachers in spirituality, or in neurosciences, or in advanced consciousness studies, etc., all these things started to merge, and I was looking for the way to be able to make the changes I wanted to make in my life. And those of you who know me throughout the years, I've been certified in all kinds of different stuff that you may have known me from, and that didn't work. All that stuff didn't work. I hoped it would. I prayed it would, but it didn't work. You know why? Because of the what I talk about, in my basic training, that everything we're dealing with is energy, and that includes not only the things that we see, but it includes the things that we don't see. So when you're energetically aware, you recognize that everything that's seen comes from the non-seen. Everything that's physical comes from non-physical. So I use the iceberg, analogy of 10% of the energy that we see that's visible is above the water, right? 90% of the energy that we don't see is below the water, is what we can't see. And I was joking, say the Titanic wasn't sunk by the energy that it could see, right? The icebergs it could see was sunk by the 90% it couldn't see. And this is an important analogy, because that which we can see, we can control. We can do something about it if you can see it. But if you can't see it, if you're not aware of it, then it controls you. And there was a national study of the two things that plague people the most, and they did a survey of what are the two things that cause take people away from where they want to go and bring them into the lives they don't want versus the lives that they do want. You know what those two things were? Guess. Anxiety and self-sabotage. The two greatest factors of why people aren't moving forward into the life of their dreams. Whatever those things are, fear and self-sabotage. And could relate to that, as I'm sure you could. Our guest is going to be talking about about this stuff in a minute. About it's you want to be here and you're over here, and you start moving towards what you want, and then something starts pulling you back. What is this thing? I don't know what it is. It's pulling me back. Well, it's the energies that are operating inside us, and this was the missing link that I discovered, and that is that we have hidden energies inside us, energies that show up as thoughts, as our emotions, as our behaviors, and ultimately all of those things contribute to the quality of our lives. And these energies, many of them we're not aware of. They come into our beliefs about the way the world is that we never question. And it comes in as the navigator on what we think is going to make us happy based upon the experience that we get when we grow up. So we have these beliefs, and we have what I call the operating system in human beings. And typically you get into your 30s, maybe late 20s, 30s, 40s, and beyond, you start to notice that there are things that are jammed up. You start to notice that there are parts of you that you've worked on, and maybe it's an issue. Maybe it could be a relationship issue, finding the right person. Maybe you haven't found the right person yet. Or maybe you're struggling in your career. You know, you worked hard, but you're not where you want to be. Or maybe you've got some kind of body challenge that, you know, you're trying to stay healthy, but it seems that you shift from one place to another, and that's unresolved. So this is what we call our issues, and everybody's dealing with issues. If you're a human being walking on this earth, you got issues. In fact, I like to say this is the recovery planet, because everybody who comes here, you know, as they start living their lives, have to recover from something. You guys are recover. I recover. I like to call us survivors, because we've all been through some pretty tough times, some pretty tough stuff, some disappointments, and again, some great stories about trauma is what I call it. And what we're learning is why change is so hard is because these things that we've gone through, we think they're in the past, but they're not in the past. They affect us even to this day. And I'm going to be talking to that probably in the next broadcast about how one thing can happen to us once, and it can create an operating system for the rest of our lives. Think about that for a second. Thinking happened from once. People who have experienced abuse or abuse memories, maybe it happened to them once, or maybe once a long, long, long time ago. And yet energetic awareness realizes and teaches from the data that's available here, in my personal experience, that those things never leave. They get embedded into what I call our energy body. Now, there's scientific vocabulary for all these things, but I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to talk about it energetically. There's a doctor who talks about trauma. Who's got a great book on trauma called Dr. Van de Kolk, called Understanding and Healing Trauma, I think it's called, where he talks about all these things. But I'm talking about the energies right now, the energies that control us. And if you're not where you want to be in your life, if you're not making the money you want to make, if you don't have the relationship that you want, or you don't have the health that you want, and if there's areas still challenging you, then you're dealing with energy, and you're dealing with stuck energy patterns. And those energy patterns don't go lightly. It takes understanding, focus, awareness, and the ability and the technology to dissolve them, to understand how to work in the human energy field, and to really get that you and I are energy sending and releasing machines or vehicles. So right now I'm sending you energy. You're getting the vibe. Hopefully you're getting the high vibration energy vibe. But people send out energy, and they receive the energy back. So high vibration energy, when people are happy, they're joyous, they're free, they're abundant, they're blessed, they're in the flow, they're in sync with their true, or in alignment with their true high vibratory nature, which is what we were all born into this world for. That energy attracts more high vibration energy, you're around somebody who's happy, who's positive, who's got a lot of love in their heart. I went last night. I went to go see there's a great movie about the famed tenor Luciano Pavarotti. I don't know if you guys remember him, but back in the day, he was not only one of the greatest singers that ever lived, but his heart was so loving. And he was, he's this 300-pound little kid, always blowing kisses, giving hugs, and uplifting everything that he did. It was amazing. If you get a chance to see that, it's called Pavarotti, and it was directed by Ron Howard, who was Opie in the Andy Griffith Show. There's a little trivia for you. So that high vibration energy lifts you up. But when you're around people who are down or depressed, right, or who are negative, you can feel that energy too. So these energies rub off. It's not something you have to believe. It's just observe it. And that's what we've done in energy awareness training. We've observed how the energies work, because all energies, and that includes you, me, the desk, the house, the air outside, you name it. It's like Albert Einstein said, it's all energy. So every day we're having energetic interactions at our jobs, at home, in the gym, whatever we're going to go do, we're creating an energy exchange. Now that energy has a power, it has a purpose, it has a frequency, and it gives off information. So why is this important? Because right now we're living in what most agree is a three-dimensional world. So we're accessing what's good for us or what's not good for us based on these three dimensions. And when we have to make a decision about something, and we do every day for our benefit, for what to eat, what to wear, where to go, what to invest in, who to love, or who to stay away from, we're constantly making decisions. And we're making decisions based upon a three-dimensional world. Well, science says that we're living in a 10, 12, maybe even more dimensional reality. Who knows? But it's not limited to three. There's at least 10 or 12 dimensions. Think about that. And that's what I mean by being energetically aware. So what that means is that there's dimensions, there's realities of life that are taking place right here and right now that we're not physically attuned to unless you've trained yourself to be able to recognize higher dimensional frequencies. So what it's like light, for example. If I turn on my flashlight on my phone, you'll be able to see that light. But in higher frequencies, there's ultraviolet light, there's light forms that we can't see, but they're still floating around us anyway. You can't see the cell waves, can't see the radio waves, but they're all around us. And if you know how to recognize those radio waves and you know how to harness these ultra frequencies, then you have a major advantage over those who don't. So in navigating life, what would it be like if you're able to not just see three dimensions, but you're able to access 4, 5, 6, 7 or more dimensions? How cool would that be? That means that you probably wouldn't make the mistakes you make when you make decisions. If you've ever made a decision and made a mistake, and who hasn't among us, right? You thought, gee, I wonder why this didn't work out. It looked good on paper. It made logical sense. Whether it's a relationship, gee, I thought we were getting along. It seemed to be good. Or, gee, the investment looked, penciled out great on paper. Or, this vacation spot got a lot of great reviews and it didn't work out. Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it have been great if you had known that before you got involved, or before you plunked down your money, or before you went to the vacation spot that you thought was good, that was kind of crummy? And that's what being energetically aware does. It opens your ability to be able to grasp more insight, to know which direction something's going in, kind of what frequency it is, and whether it's generating high vibration or low vibration energy, right? Isn't that ultimately the bottom line for every decision we make? under whatever the circumstances are, whether is this the right relationship for me? Is this the right investment? Is this the right place for me to move to? Is this the right place to go on vacation? Whatever those decisions are, you want them to be in high vibration energy, right? You want it to work out. You want it to be good. You want it to be something that brings you happiness and joy, not something that brings you low vibration energy, which is stress, worry, anxiety, all that stuff. And yet we've made these decisions where we made the decision for one thing and we ended up with something else. Why? Because we didn't have all the facts, because we couldn't see multidimensionally. We couldn't access the information, the direction, the power, the frequency of how energy is going. So this is why energy awareness training is so practical, because whatever you're doing, it's an energetic exchange. I don't care what you're doing today. When you get off this broadcast, you're going to have an energetic exchange, because that's what humans do on this planet, which is the energetic planet. So I hope that gives you a little bit of background about what we're talking about today. Energetic awareness and how to increase your awareness so that you can make more money, so you can have better relationships, so you can heal your past, so you can learn how to turn off that monkey in your head, what I call the emotional terrorist in our heads, so you can learn how to dissolve that and move into what we call energetic freedom. That's the purpose of this work, to end all emotional suffering. Boy, wouldn't that be great? Well, it's absolutely possible if you're energetically aware, because most of our suffering is in our thought forms, is in the way we perceive things. And when you recognize what energies influence those, and you stay in high vibration, you're able to deal with the challenges that life throws you. And life throws us all. Life throws us all challenges every single day, every week, every month. Some of them are a little bit, some of them are big. We all have to deal with that. And again, no one ever taught us how to deal with rejection, or how to deal with loss, or how to deal with breakups, or how to deal with all these things that God forbid, they take people down. You see somebody who's suicidal. Why? It's usually because it's a result of something that happened to them that they can't handle. Breakups, or finances. Every recession, there's always, some guy who loses all his money and jumps off the skyscraper. Well, that's unfortunate, but that is so unnecessary, because the energies inside us say, whoa, this is the end. Oh, a breakup. Oh, that's the end. That's the end. Oh, bad investment. That's the end. And if you can get clear and be onto how this frequency works that's caused you so much misery, it'll change your life. Imagine being able to wake up with no anxiety, with no fear. Imagine being able to operate in a place of peace inside you. That's what's available when you're energetically aware. And that's why we do these broadcasts. That's why I share this. It's been a godsend to me, and now it's been a godsend to the people that I teach. So with that, I'd like to bring on one of my favorite students and a dear friend of mine that I started teaching him energy awareness training from level one, from the very first step, about 3 years ago. Yeah. And I want you to hear his story, and I want you to hear the results. It's one thing if I say that, you hear me say that every week, but it's another one to have somebody who is curious about the changes that they could make and actually went for it and studied and went through all 10 levels of my energy awareness training. And before I bring him on, I just want to just give a quick shout out. We're having a 30% off sale this week on all levels of energy awareness training. So I just want to let you know about that as you get curious and get intrigued and want to know more. You can go to energyawareness.secret.com, energyawareness.secret.com, and there's all the information about the courses that we teach that are in depth, that address all these things we're talking about on the broadcast here. So
Also,
what I'd like to
everybody, real quick, sorry to interrupt, Glenn.
go ahead.
If you stay until the end of the broadcast, we're actually going to be answering all of your questions that you ask in chat. So as you're listening to all this information, as Will shares his story, how energy awareness training has impacted him, how he's used it, as you get curious, I'm sure you're going to have questions. Comment them in the live stream, in the comment section below. Comment them at the end of the broadcast. We're going to go through all the questions individually and answer them, give you a ton of value. This is exciting. And yeah, there you go, Glenn.
Thank you, Dante. I appreciate that. Dante is my social media director of my company and a dear friend, and really appreciate the great work he does putting all this tech stuff together for us all. Anyway, go ahead on the chat if you would. I'm gonna be giving you everything I can give you here in this broadcast, and I appreciate it if you would just say hi, because the more people we have interacting, the farther the broadcast goes. So you do me a favor, if you just say hi, any questions or any shout outs or anything you want to say on the chat, be really appreciative on that. Okay, without further ado, I'd like to bring all the way from England, Britain, also known as the UK, I want to bring on my dear friend and student, Will Couchman. Will, are you there?
I'm here. Hi, Glenn.
How you doing today, Will?
I'm doing great. Yeah, doing really well. Thank
Cool. I appreciate you being able to come on. I know it's what is it, about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the evening?
8 o'clock. 8 o'clock. Yeah.
8 o'clock, right. Is the sun still out?
No, it's still daylight. The sun does set quite late here, but it's been a little bit cloudy. I think it was raining.
Still daylight though, right? Is it still daylight? Great.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring you on and just have you tell the people a little bit about where you were at when you started learning energy awareness training, and just a little bit of a background, and how how studying this. Now you've been you've been an enthusiastic student. You really went for it. You know, some people take level 1, level 2, level. You've gone through 10 levels and are chomping in the bit for more, and one of my favorite students. So I wonder if you could just give us a little bit of background where you came from and take it from there.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Glenn. So the story with me and energy awareness training, and the way that I found Glenn was it was a period about 3 years ago where I was dealing with a whole lot of social anxiety that had come up out of nowhere, because for quite a few years, you know, so kind of most of the way through my 20s, you know, I was very social, very extroverted, you know, had no issue going up talking to groups of strangers. If I was out at a social event, all of that was fine, no issue. What started happening about 3 years ago was, for reasons I couldn't quite work out, I started to develop this really intense social anxiety. So basically, it was like a feeling of panic. If I was out at a social event, you know, I'd feel like my throat was constricting, my heart would race, I'd be scared about talking to people. It's really quite alarming because I've never really had much of that before. And so really it was a set of coincidences. So going through that, I started researching social anxiety. You know, my mother's a psychologist. So I was sort of doing some research around social anxiety and kind of ways to overcome it, and stumbled across some of Glenn's videos. And I looked at it and I watched, and I've always been fairly skeptical as a person. So for people on the broadcast who might be thinking, I don't know about this energy thing, I'm fully with you. I wasn't necessarily sold on it, but I thought, okay, I'll kind of check this out. I'll see what the deal is. And as Glenn was kind of explaining, very similar to what he just explained a few minutes ago, and he was explaining how, you know, most of life is hidden. You know, the seen, the things that we see come from the unseen. You know, there is energy and vibration, and we live in an energy field and we're interacting with it. It kind of set off a few light bulbs for me about things that I'd experienced that I could never quite explain. And actually the most profound one Glenn will enjoy as a story, because Glenn's from San Francisco originally, and I went to San Francisco well over 10 years ago, and I went to visit Alcatraz, the old prison. And I remember the main thing I remember about going to Alcatraz was I walked into, so you go through like the tour of the prison, and you finish off in the canteen, the food hall. And I remember being on that trip, walking into the canteen and just getting hit with this like wave of I don't know how to describe it now, except just like this really dark, heavy energy. It kind of, that room felt violent. It's just,
Mhm.
people talk about how you get like a good vibe from a place. Oh, this place feels quite chilled out, or this place feels a little bit unnerving. It was more towards the second one. And actually, funny enough, a friend of mine went to San Francisco a couple of weeks ago, and I deliberately didn't prompt her. I waited till she got back and I said, "What did you think about the canteen?" And she just went, "That place is weird. What the hell was that?" And I was like, people who've been in understand it. It has an atmosphere to it. And so as Glenn was explaining energy, it reminded me about that trip, and I was like, oh, maybe that can, it explains the unexplainable. I used to have this thing where I could never work out why, whenever I was in a really bad, like in a bad mood, I was in a rush, I was driving, I had to get somewhere quickly, I'd hit every red light on the way. And yet, even lights that were normally green on my normal drive. It's like, why is it the days that you're late and you're really, really kind of angry and pissed off, why do you hit every red light on the way? And when Glenn was explaining that the kind of interaction that you have with your environment, you like you said, we're energetic sending and receiving stations. So there is an interaction between you and how you're feeling, and essentially how you perceive the world outside. All these little bits started kind of clicking into place. So even though I wasn't sold on energy at first, the great thing about the way that Glenn has structured the training is he said, okay, here is the fact that there are two energies operating in the world. We live in a world of duality. So, there is daytime and there is nighttime. There is left and there is right. There's up, there's down, there's good, there's bad. Everything kind of has an opposite. And so if everything in this world is energy, like our teachers told us at school, doesn't it make sense that there are two types of energies? And so as Glenn was explaining to us in that first class, there is an energy that makes you feel, makes you feel happy, makes you feel free, everything's flowing, everything's working. And there are other times where you seem to just have this wall of this heavy, stuck energy, and it goes just beyond your emotions, goes beyond your feelings, your anxieties, or whatever. It there just seems to be this kind of heaviness, like this dark cloud that people with depression talk about a lot.
Mhm.
And the way that Glenn explained it to us was, these are the definitions of different types of energies. Go out into the world and this week see if you can identify not only the energies, but you can see the laws in operation. The fact that whichever energy you're in will then create another energy. And once you start to see it everywhere, it is like the penny drops. And I was completely sold at that moment. I was like, this finally explains the things that I've never understood. It kind of gives me a roadmap with which to navigate the world. And importantly, once Glenn started getting into the main thing he teaches, which is how to deal with your own internal low vibration energy, your fear, your worry, your anxiety, and your stress, and teaching the practical techniques that he has to deal with those, it started to turn my life and the issues that I was having around. And for people who might still be thinking, okay, well, does this stuff really work? Try this if nothing else I say convinces you. So I had a situation a few years ago, extremely painful situation where a couple of people I love died in a car accident. So and this was before I had started working with Glenn, so I didn't know how to deal with things. So that emotional, because it was an emotional trauma, that trauma kind of buried deep down and lodged, and started coming up with the fact that I started to get very anxious about people driving in cars, particularly people driving to come and see me. So for years, I would not let people drive to come and see me. I would always go to them. So I kind of knew why and where it had come from, but it really started to become an issue. If you remember, Glenn, it came to the surface really about a year ago, that I was like, this thing is actually really starting to impact me. I'd flown out somewhere to see a friend who was going to pick me up from the airport, and on the plane on the way over, I started to have what without training would have been a panic attack, because I was like, because just that voice in my head, that torment was, she's going to die. She's going to die on her way to the airport. She's going to be dead when you get there, and it will be all your fault. And I had to use all my training that Glenn had given me over the years to be able to deal with and process that out. So
if I could just jump in, we'll just for a second, for you, those of you who are listening to this new for the first time, this is what I'm talking about when you have those thoughts that come in and start to attack you. Exactly what Will just said. Isn't it amazing, if you haven't noticed yet, that where do these thoughts come that want to make things worse, that want to put us down, that want to bring us into this low vibration energy, these feelings of down and depressed and worry and fear. This is an active process that we're in every single day to be able to deal with it. Because if you just listen to your head, it's going to try to spin you into this energy. This is what we notice about energy awareness. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. Yeah, there's a lot of good things going on, and yet this little voice inside us wants to wreck it. Wants to pull us out. And it says, yeah, it's a nice day, but don't forget about this. Don't forget about that. What's going to happen there? It wants to pull us into that low vibration energy field. And this is the struggle and the battle that we're in every day to dealing with our thoughts and our emotions and feelings. Just wanted to point that out. Will, go ahead.
Thanks. So exactly what Glenn has just said happened. I had this thought that spiraled out of control. I physically reacted. That low vibration energy, as we call it, that fear, that worry, anxiety, stress, really overtook me, and it again took all my training to kind of stay above the surface. Without that training, I don't know what I would have done, but eventually, I got it under control. Everything was fine. But I then, got back and was like, okay, I need to, this thing, I thought I dealt with all of these issues, but they have a habit of coming up at the worst possible time. So sat down with Glenn during one of the classes. So I can't remember which level it was, but for people who stick on and buy the levels, which I would recommend above anything else you do in life, you'll actually see the class where we work through this process. Did the kind of the step-by-step technique that Glenn teaches to kind of deal with, very, very heavy emotional trauma. And so we did that technique once live in the class. I did it once again on my own. The next trip out to see my friend a few months later, I was happy as a clam on the plane on the way over. And there is, people can be in therapy for years dealing with emotional issues and trying to work through them. It took 2 hours of a process that Glenn teaches, and actually an issue that had caused me almost a panic attack in one situation just didn't bother me anymore. And so if there was anything I was going to say about energy awareness training, regardless of whether at first you think, okay, I'm not too sure about the terminology or whatever, Glenn teaches practical step-by-step techniques and trainings that essentially allow you to take control of your own emotional state and actually heal the things that are inside you, that are the root of your fear, your worry, your anxiety, and your stress. And I'll finish with that and hand back over to you. But basically, the proof is in the pudding. I don't know if that's a phrase over there, but it is over here. But the fact is, I had this issue. I worked with Glenn for a couple of hours. It was a very short period of time. The issue didn't bother me anymore. And that's the one thing I can say, coming from a student and someone who's invested, the last few years in working with Glenn. This stuff works. You stick with it, you will heal the things that are holding you back. Because I've healed a lot. Still issues to go on. Life is a series of challenges. There's no version of life where everything is happy as a clam all the time. The measure of what Glenn's training does is it teaches you how to navigate the uncertainties of life and the energies that come at you, the difficulties, the way to the way to deal with those and actually move into a place where life becomes more of a flow and you're able to move towards the life that you want. So I'll stop with that as my opening spiel, but hopefully that for people who are new to this, take it from me, this stuff really does work like nothing else I've come across. And I'm pretty well versed in, you know, self-help, technology and materials. You know, like a lot of people, I've spent a lot of time, a large part of my life looking into why I operate the way I do, ways to deal with things, ways to cope with things. There's nothing else on the planet that comes close to this. I don't want that to sound like a sales pitch, but I'm speaking from the experiences that I've had. So that's back to you, Glenn.
Thanks, Will. I appreciate it. You said some really powerful things. You know, that there's even a way when we're going through, I mean, I think we all go through some kind of real, you can call it a panic attack. People call panic attacks. People call it nervous breakdowns. People call them, you know, manic depressive episodes. You know, a lot of people just call losing it, man, just losing it, losing the when you're dealing with so much stress and anxiety or a particular issue that's bumming you. Isn't it interesting that when we're going through a tough time, that the stress compounds? It doesn't get smaller, it compounds when you're going through a turbulent time. And again, we were never taught on how to deal with turbulent times. This is why probably all of you know someone who, you know, was having a great life and things are going great, and something happened. Maybe it was a breakup, or maybe a job change, or maybe losing somebody in their lives. And all of a sudden, it just turned their world upside down, and they don't know how to deal with it. So you try to deal with it with the best you can. But what happens is that when you move into, that's what I call a low vibration energy phase that you got to go through, that is not pleasant. We all got to deal with stuff that's not pleasant. But here's the thing. You better have the tools to deal with that before the unpleasantness happens, before the turmoil happens, because in this world, things are constantly changing. And it's the important thing for us to know. You know, things aren't, you know, ask everyone, how you doing? Great, I'm doing great. You know, things aren't always moving up. They move up, they move over, they move down, they move sideways, etc. Life isn't a linear process. It's funny. It is and it isn't. It's like life's linear in that our concept of time, where we get it's every day, sun goes up, sun goes down. So there's a regularity in the process of life, but yet there's an irregularity in the way we are able to, the way it comes to us. Sometimes it comes to us as sunny days. Sometimes it comes to us as rainy days. Sometimes it comes to us as storms, etc. And the key to this work, and the key why I do this, is to end emotional suffering. You know, if you look around and you see people are suffering from, I got this problem, or I got that problem, or I got this problem. 90% of the suffering comes from the voice in your head that's going to tell you how bad it is. You see, our biggest fears aren't fears of these things happening. It's the emotions. It's the fear of how you're going to feel if this happens. Oh, what if I'm on the street? You know, people's biggest fears, you know, who work. Oh, what if I lose my job? God forbid. What if I'm homeless? Oh my God. And you start making these horror movies about how bad they are. And the body can't tell the difference emotionally, whether something's real or something's fake. You're going to have the same emotional reactions. That's why, you know, you can go to a horror movie, you know, and see all kinds of mayhem taking place, and it's so real, your body reacts as if this thing was really happening. And it's the same thing that happens to us in our daily lives when we're thinking about, you know, where we're at, and we're constantly judging. Am I going somewhere? Am I not going somewhere? Am I making money? Am I moving forward in my career? I don't see things happening. We have all of these conversations in our head. And it's the conversation in your head that tries to get you to suffer, tries to make you think about, well, am I really going somewhere? I don't know. Let me think about it. And the more we think, the more turbulence takes place inside us. And that's where the suffering is primarily in the thinking process. I give the example, let's say it's Friday afternoon and your boss is running out there. He goes, "Hey, I want to see you in my office first thing Monday morning. Don't be late." And they walk out and they tell you just like that. You're going, what does he want? That tone of voice sounded like he was mad at me, so your mind. So this is what I'm talking about. That maniac in your head, the monkey mind says, "Oh, he wants to see you at 9 o'clock Monday morning. Oh, what could he want? Maybe he's going to fire you, or maybe he's going to dock your pay, or maybe I made some kind of mistake and he's going to, tell everybody and embarrass me." You see what the mind, everything's, oh, maybe he's going to give me a raise. Oh, maybe he's going to give me a promotion. No, the mind doesn't go there. That voice in your head doesn't go there. It goes into what's the worst possible thing that can happen. Why? Because these energies have an agenda. The high vibration energy wants to build you up, wants to assist you in moving into your full potential. And the low vibration energy wants to take you down, wants to worry you, wants to stress you, wants to take you into a place out of high vibrational energy. And this is an interactive process that we go through every day, either on a overt or a covert form, either consciously or unconsciously. We have to deal with the energies of low vibration energy because they come looking for us every day in our thoughts, in our emotions, and just in the roughly 30 to 40,000 thoughts we have. This low vibration energy can hack into our thoughts, can literally hack into there and try to make us think that its thoughts are our thoughts. So when you have the analogy, what I just said, what does the boss want? Now, watch this thought form. All I know is the boss said, kind of in a gruff voice, that he wants to see me in his office first thing Monday morning. Don't be late. Okay. That's what came down. The energies inside you want to spin this, especially the low vibration energy that wants to go, that sees an opportunity to pull you out of your happiness, to pull you out of your positivity and your high vibration energy with the thought of, what does he want? 9 o'clock Monday morning, said, don't be late. Oh my gosh, this could be it. Now watch the thought form. Maybe you did something wrong. Maybe he's going to yell at you, just like your third grade teacher yelled at you that caused you so much shame. Or maybe he's going to fire you, or maybe he's going to lay you off. If that happens, how long can I go without money? What if I can't get another job? What if I'm going to be out on the street? What if I'm going to be homeless? You see how you go down, down, down. It just keeps pulling you down. What about this thought? What about this bad thought? Let's add this bad thought. Let's add this fearful emotion. Let's add this, boom, boom, until you're just exhausted from literally getting beat up in your head from this low vibration energy. When the simple awareness fact is there anything that you can do about it right now? If there is, great. If there isn't, then you got a 2-day wait. So now it all becomes, how do you process attack thoughts, attack emotions, attack feelings? You do that by learning energy awareness training, learning how to get out of your head, learning how to start moving the energy and dissolve that. So let me ask you this, would it be of value to you to be able to turn that terror voice off for the weekend and go, okay, well, what's going to happen is going to happen. And I choose to be in high vibration energy now. You do the techniques I show you to clean out all the worry, all the fear, all the doubt, all the anxiety. And just enjoy the weekend and be fully present right here, right now. And then deal with when 9 o'clock comes. Now that's intellectually what you should do, right? But these energies aren't intellectual, at least not on the high vibration energy side. They're very intellectual on the low vibration energy side. They want to tell you every reason why it's not going to work out, why you should be afraid, why this thing's happening, etc. Very few times this voice wants to be logical and say, hey, how could it work out? Maybe, maybe there's something high vibrational about to happen, right? No, it doesn't do that. You have to do that. You have to train yourself every day to process all the low vibration energy, thoughts, fears, emotions, and behaviors if you have them, and to be able to make the change. And the way we do this, we have a saying that says, nothing changes until energy moves. So here Will is, I asked you about this. Well, your mother's a psychologist. I have psychologists as students too. I have medical doctors who are students of mine. And you would think, well, you get paid to, help people. You get paid to, take people out of their suffering. And they all do good work. I'm not putting them down in any way. But your mom was a psychologist. Was she able to help you with your anxiety and stress, Will?
So that is a good question. Definitely not in the same way. I mean, so funny thing, because I've lived away for a while, so I never really spoke to my mother much about it. But growing up is a great thing. So I'm very lucky as I have a mother who is who's very nurturing and loving, and obviously knew how to deal with my idiosyncrasies, because I grew up a very, very anxious child. I was afraid of everything. I was a very small, kind of very weak child, and I had asthma, so I was afraid of everyone and everything. So she's great at doing those kind of things. But the thing that helped me and the support wasn't the kind of intellectual way of talking through things that, of course, now as an adult we can do. We have some fascinating conversations about how you heal issues cognitively, which is what counseling and therapy does, versus somatically, which is really to deal with kind of the underlying emotions. So the way that the thing that did it with my mother was it was that love and the energy, and the way that she was able to calm me down whenever I got stressed and anxious. That's an energy, right? That's the thing that helped me kind of navigate those, because mother's energies, if you're fortunate enough to have a good relationship with your mothers, especially for children, are the most calming influence there is, because a mother's love is an energy. Love is an energy. It is an exchange between people that actually can be very, very healing. And you kind of start to see it from that perspective. One thing I will say, just to kind of jump on what you were just saying about the kind of the emotional terrorist in your head and the way that the thoughts will take you down. Understanding that you are not your thoughts, and that there is an energy that can hack into your thoughts. And you'll see that if you've ever had a thought that's really, really kind of whacked out, and you're like, what? No, I'm not going to go and kill the people who just, kill the next door neighbors who just annoyed me. You get
Kill the Starbucks barista for making my coffee late.
Yeah, exactly. It's that kind of thing. You have those really whacked out thoughts, and when you realize they're not you, it allows you to create the distance between it, so that they no longer affect you as much. Because when you identify with the thought, you think it's you. Not only does it have the power to pull you down, but of course it has the power to kind of make you beat yourself up. So if you've ever had a thought, kind of a dark thought, which we all do, and then you kind of beat yourself up, it's like, oh, I'm a terrible person. It's like, no, stop. That thought does not come from you. That is just a thought that you have had, because it's in the identifying with it that it allows you to take it down. So as a funny example, Glenn and I were talking earlier this week. I was having some personal issues. I just kind of got myself worked up, and so needed Glenn to help me kind of talk through quite a complex issue. And as I was talking through it, Glenn stopped me straight away and he said, okay, is what you're talking about here fact? Or is it, I love the way you phrased it, it was low vibration energy propaganda. In other words, is it the actual reality of the situation? Or is it that little thought that then kind of spirals out of control and pulls you out into all different directions? And as we talked through it, it was like, really, the situation was, I wanted this thing to happen. This thing happened instead, and it wasn't what I wanted. That's it. That's the only fact that there is. And you notice kind of like the space around that. I wanted this to happen. This happened instead. That's it. All the suffering comes in the way that the thoughts, that low vibration energy thinks, disappoint, I can throw disappointment at him, I can throw anger at him, I can throw whatever, and that's the thing that grabs you and allows you to pull you down. So Glenn and I were working through that this week. It's kind of the key identification that you are not your, or I don't even want to say you are not your thoughts, because that's a bit ethereal. You can't believe everything you think. I think is probably the best way you say it. So I just wanted to kind of jump in on that thing you were saying about thoughts pulling you down.
I mean, that's such a radical concept. Did anybody ever tell you that in high school or college? You're not your thoughts. I never heard that. And yet so much of my thinking, the suggestions were of anxiety or stress thoughts. You're not this, you're not that, you should this isn't going to work out, and it was like literally an internal civil war or tug of war going on in your head. One part wants to take you down, the other part doesn't want to go down, and you're having these thoughts, for so long. You even see people walking down the street, in their head, sometimes they're talking to themselves, yes, I am, no, I'm not, because you're playing thought ping pong. And that's the fallacy of positive thinking. We just think positive, it's going to work out. Well, you got a voice inside that says you're not worthy, or things aren't going to work out, or it's going to be a bad ending, God forbid, whatever those things are. And it says, you suck. No, I don't. Yes, you do. No, I don't. Yes, you do. And as long as you are in the grasp, what I call, of the low vibration energy zones, that low vibration energy, that entity, that force is going to win. When you get, and this is the things that I teach, it's kind of hard for somebody brand spanking new to get this, but what I teach is that you're not your thoughts. Just because you have a thought doesn't mean it's true. Now, you have thoughts, but you're not the thoughts. That means that I don't have to, when my mind says something, I go, wait a minute, is this my thought? Is this something that I would choose to do? And if the thoughts are causing you any kind of worry, anxiety, stress, fear, doubt, it's not your thought, because you wouldn't choose consciously to put yourself in a low vibration energy. You wouldn't do it. Why? Because it doesn't feel good. And as human beings, we want to feel good. We want to pleasure. We want to avoid pain. So those aren't your thoughts. This is a radical concept, you guys, but I want to share this with you. Before I continue this point, Dante, do you want to tell everybody about the sale that we got going on this week and the opportunities?
Absolutely. Will, thank you for sharing, by the way, man. Your story's incredible. And again, we were talking before the call, everybody, but I've gone through level 1 and level 2, and I took a peek at a couple lessons from level 10, and Will's on those lessons, and it's kind of insane how practical this information is and how much you encounter on a day-to-day basis. So I just want to add that. Yeah, I'm excited. This is awesome, and I'm loving that you're sharing this. Yeah, everybody, look, if you go to energyawareness.secret.com, we're having a 30% off summer sale. Okay, so all of our courses, levels 1 through I believe 5, right, Glenn?
Well, all 10 of them are on sale, but we have descriptions for the first 5 levels.
But if they buy levels 1 through 3, they get 4 and 5.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah. Let me do this. So what we have here, I do this a couple times a year, and so many people ask, Glenn, how do we learn energy awareness training? Because you learn it, in all of our broadcasts. I'm sure you guys pick up something new every time we do a broadcast, because we're constantly adding new material from our courses. But if you really get how powerful this is, and you really want to change your life, and you want to be able to have a kind of like a hidden advantage over your competition in whatever it is, then I strongly urge you guys to learn energy awareness training. I see it's the most powerful thing that you can do in 2019 to change your life, because you change your energy. What is your life? It's your energy. What is your energy? Your thoughts, feelings, emotions, behaviors. You change your energy, you change your life. You don't change it, you keep things the way they are, you're going to get more of the same. And if nothing changes, nothing changes. Well, here's the reality. Things are always changing. Yet sometimes we get stuck in a low vibration energy. So things are changing. I mean, we're all another day older. Hopefully we're another day of growing and maturing, etc. But if you're stuck in a low vibration energy pattern, then even though time goes on, you're still where you were when you got that stuck energy pattern or that stuck belief or that thing that happened to you that created your current operating system. So what we're talking about, your energetic operating system, EOS. We all have one. And if you're where you want to be, if you're doing what you want to do, if you have the life you want, you can't improve anything, congratulations. You're as rare as a four-leaf clover, because most of us are dealing with the low vibration energy events, traumas, and stories that we've created, we've experienced in our lives. And that's the energy that keeps on giving, unfortunately. The low vibration energy is the energy that keeps on giving. More anxiety, more stress, more worry, more doubt. We want to eliminate that. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you were able to eliminate your self-doubt or the low vibration energy attack thoughts in your head? And if you were able to just walk around in complete peace, in joy, and excuse me, and not saying that you don't have things going on, or you're going to have things going on. You're going to have challenges coming your way. But imagine ending and dissolving all suffering and moving into a place where you're able to deal with life and whatever comes to you. And that's my purpose for doing this work, to create this space for people to know there's no more need for emotional suffering. In fact, not only is there no need, there are levels of happiness available to you that you haven't even experienced yet. There are levels of bliss and joy and ecstasy that are waiting for you to attain them, because virtually those energies are unlimited. And when you know how to tap into high vibrational energy, you can be as happy as you want. Authentically, you can be as peaceful as you want. You can be as successful as you want, because you're tapping in, again, to an energy form that's unlimited. And how you do that, we'd love to be able to explain it all, but that's why we have the classes. You can't somebody to speak French in 1 or 2 classes, but you can, over time, over an 8 to 10 class period, you can teach them a good vocabulary. So by the end, they're a lot farther along than they were before. And that's what we do in energy awareness training. We have levels, the beginning levels of people who maybe don't know much about energy, want to learn how it works, want to learn how energy affects you internally, externally, want to know how to have a hidden advantage. Then the levels progress into learning how to take control of your own energy, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, and how to be able to dissolve those energies and you be in control of your energy. See, it works this way. Either you're in control of your energy or the low vibration energy is in control of you. It's one or the other. Now, the low vibration energy doesn't knock on the door in the morning and go, low vibration energy calling. I'm here to take over your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Just want to let you know that I'm here and we're going to hit you at any time. Wouldn't it be great if they did that? But no, it's all subtle. It all works in a hidden process, in an unconscious process, and you don't recognize what energy field you're in until the energy snaps, until all of a sudden, whoa, here it is. So being energetically aware it's like navigating a minefield. That's what I call the energies. You go through a grassy field, great. Some people are going to walk across that field, piece of cake. Some people are going to step in the booby traps, and all of us as human beings have stepped into energetic and emotional booby traps. And what this works about is having you be able to see where those booby traps are and how to avoid them, and even if they come running after you, to be able to protect yourself. And again, we're all going to need this. Some of us, boy, I wish I had had this 20 years ago when I was growing up in school. Can you imagine kids growing up who are energetically aware, who don't have to suffer, who don't have to put up with bullying, who understand, the dynamics of making a good decision? For me, maybe for you guys, I was a rebel growing up. If you told me to go this way, I go that way. If you told me to go up, I go down. Whatever it is, and I would do it even if I knew it was going to hurt me more, I'd do it because you can't tell me what to do. And I caused myself a lot of suffering being a rebel. I'm sure you guys did too. And when you present, and we don't want our kids to suffer. We don't want to suffer. And you think, well, you know, it's a school of hard knocks. Well, I'll tell you what, when you present this energetically, as opposed to good or bad or right or wrong, just, hey, one direction is going to feel good and one direction is going to make you suffer. Up to you which way you want to go there, but at least it's your choice. And this is one of the key factors to be able to completely disconnect yourself from your drama, trauma, past story that we all have of the reasons why we're not where we want to be, doing what we want to do, having what we want to do. That, oh, I got a great reason. Oh yeah. Are you where you want to be in life? Well, yes and no. But I'll tell you why I'm not. I got this great reason. If you knew what happened to me when I was a kid, and what I had to grow up, you know, and this thing, and that's the story of the drama trauma. And that's what a part of you has been using to be able to rationalize the things that aren't working in your life, or the low vibration energies. So when you become energetically aware and you're able to shift that out, that's the key factor on moving, on taking back control of your thoughts, taking back control of your feelings. You know, some people, you know, I know people who are disappointed. They didn't get, I know an actor, he didn't get the part he wanted. He was up for a part in a major TV show here in Hollywood, was it 18 years ago? And he didn't get the part. And the guy who got the part went on to be a multimillionaire, really famous, and he didn't. And every time you talk to him, he brings it up. You know, I could have had an Emmy, but I could have done this. That one incident, he lets define him. He lets define who he is, who he was, who he's not, because of that one thing happened, and that guy didn't cast me. That's the reason why I'm not a famous actor, or I'm a famous this and like that. So what is it in your life? What are the excuses in your life that you're going, well, I got a good reason. Because you're either where you want to be, or you got a great reason and a great excuse of why you're not. Think about that for a second. You're either where you want, or you're either living the life you've imagined, right? With the relationship you want, with the money you want, with the lifestyle you want, and living life in total contentment, or you don't have some of those things and you got good reasons why, you know, that maybe relationships have been a challenge. Yeah, the two guys I married, or the two girls I married, yeah, there were something wrong with them, but you know, I'll get it right on the third try, thinking that life is doing it to us. Well, in energy awareness training, we have a saying, life doesn't come to us, it comes from us. So what we're seeing out here, now think about this for a second. Somebody said, well, is this some new age babble? This, you know, I was talking to somebody who was a very staunch Orthodox religious Christian. God bless them. And they think things are a certain way, right? They think that things are a certain way. Okay. For them, great. We don't do religion here in energy awareness training. You know, whatever you want to believe is whatever you know, about religious things, we're neutral. We just work with energy, and energy applies to every religion or no religion. And when somebody says, oh, are you one of those, you know, new age law of attraction people? Well, I say, oh, I don't know about that, but I'll tell you what, your life, the current life you have now, was created internally. Now, how does that make sense? It's simple, because again, we come back to energetic operating system, EOS. How do I operate? I operate from my thoughts. My thoughts create my feelings. My feelings create my emotions. So from a little bit of a feeling can expand into a big emotion. And my emotions, based on how I'm feeling and my thought process and my beliefs about reality, that's going to govern my behavior of what I do, of what I don't do, of what I produce or what I don't produce. And what I produce or what I don't produce And how I show up or how I don't show up, which is driven by my internal energies, creates my life. How can it not? So this is the thing where we take back our power and energy awareness training. It's not somebody doing it to us. That's the fallacy of the low vibration energy. It wants to take you right into your trauma, story, past, to go, oh, this is why things aren't happening to me. Oh, so in other words, it's somebody out there doing it. No. In energy awareness training, we recognize we generate our own energy. That is generated, of course, from the higher dimensions or from the source, whatever you call that. And from that, that's how we create the life that we have. And that is your emancipation. That's your freedom from the turmoil and the ups and downs of this world, of the third dimensional reality. The ability to move beyond the limit, the lack and the limitations that we create internally. So if I have a thought that says, it's unlucky for me to go out on rainy days, and I get a feeling of fear on a rainy day, and my fear turns into a horrible emotion, and that emotion turns into behavior, which says, I ain't going out on a rainy day, man, it's unlucky. Is that going to affect my life? You better believe it is. If I have a belief that there are no good men left or no good women left for relationships, that's the thought. Is that going to affect my emotion? Is that going to affect my behavior? You bet. Is that going to affect my life? Yeah, you bet. If I'm running a thought pattern that says, money is the root of all evil, only rich people are wealthy. I mean, only greedy people and mean people are wealthy, and that's a thought. That's a belief I have. That's going to seep into my feelings. That's going to seep into my emotions. That's going to seep into my actions. Am I going to go out and create a fortune and create wealth for myself and my family if I'm running a pattern that says it's the root of all evil? Heck no. For a lot of my healer friends, they have a lot, people massage people, or people do a Reiki, or people who are doing, any kind of health or massage type of thing. By and large, they don't have a lot of money. And, I asked some of them, and this isn't all, but I said, what's the deal? I don't really care about money. I just want to help people. And I don't, I'm not financially astute. Okay. That's a thought process, right? That creates a feeling, that creates an emotion, that creates a behavior. So anything that you're interested in, that you give attention to, expands. Anything that you don't give attention to or don't pay attention to, withdraws. You've heard the phrase, use it or lose it. So one of the things that we teach energy awareness training is finances, is money, because money and finances is an energy. How you create your money, the thoughts that you have around it, the energy that you have, that you're aware of, that you're not aware of, has a big influence on you also. You see where I'm getting at with this? We're co-creating our lives every day. And we're creating it based upon the energetic awareness or lack of energetic awareness that we have. So in this work, what I teach you how to do is to become energetically aware that energy is having an effect on you right now, and you're having an effect on the world from your energy. It's kind of a dualistic thing. And in that process, there's a lot going on that affects your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your behaviors, that affects your outcome. If you're aware of it, you can take control of it and move it and align it with unlimited high vibrational energy forces. If you're not aware of it, no problem. You're going to get a visit from the low vibration energy anytime now, trying to spin whatever's going on into a fearful, worrisome, anxious place. And that comes natural for us as human beings. It's the natural software, where we're reprogramming that software in energy awareness training and showing you how to take control of all this stuff. And it's applicable. There are energetic consequences and results in everything we do: our relationships, our money, our health, you name it, there's energy to deal with it. If you're on top of that, you're going to be on top of life. And Will's an example of utilizing this. And again, life keeps throwing stuff through you. So let me just address one other thing, and then we'll get ready to close it out. A lot of you are interested in spiritual growth. A lot of you are interested in the terms awakening, the terms enlightenment. You know, people ask, well, what are those things? And wouldn't it be great if I was enlightened, or wouldn't it be great if I was awakened? What does that mean? It means being aware of a higher consciousness. It means being aware of higher dimensions that supersede or at least accentuate what we're doing right now. Isn't that right? And that's what energy awareness training is. It's the ability to be able to see the light, so to speak, enlighten, also called lightening up. And all the struggle and all this anxiety and all this, what if this happened? Lighten up. Let that stuff go. Learn how to process this in your own energy and move out of a low vibration energy field. See, we're all in an energy field right now. You're in an energy field. I'm in an energy field. And that energy field that you call your aura, that's being fed by, again, your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and behaviors. And if you're not aware of that, you don't know how you're coming across to other people. But if you are aware of this, and this is what we teach every day, to eliminate that low vibration energy and to move into a high vibration energy frequency of happiness, of joy, of positive expectancy, of belief that good things are going to happen, of being in a place of love, of kindness, of happiness. Because what's that going to create more of? More love, more creativity, more abundance, more blessings. See, it's your choice to be able to do this. But again, it's not a mental thing. It's an energetic thing that you have to use. And Will, you've used the tools. How have you, can you relate to what I'm saying and tell the people about what that is from your experience?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Glenn. I was actually going to say an example illustrates it really well that happened to me this morning. So Glenn is he's just said a lot of great stuff. I wanted to just kind of expand to answer your question about how this has kind of affected me. Glenn said your life essentially is your energy. So to put that in addition to the examples that Glenn just used, if you have, let's say, an energy around, you have, let's say, social anxiety, let's say at work, you're very, very shy. That then you find it difficult to talk to people. You find it difficult to speak up in meetings or whatever else. So, you kind of sit there very quietly. You don't really get noticed because you have an issue about attention. That is going to leave you stuck in a certain, it's going to leave you stuck in the same job, let's say, for a long time on end. Whereas if you are able to clear the energy around, a fear of attention, around insecurity, around being shy around other people, and the stuff that Glenn teaches can help you do that. If you then learn to interact with people more, you get to network more effectively, you open up more opportunities, you clear an energy that then affects the direction that your life is taking. So my example from this morning that I think illustrates this really well, I've just finished being in a play for a couple of weeks. This is just a hobby in my part-time. I'm not a professional actor. I just like to do it. I've never had any issue with being on stage. I love acting. I love being on stage. It's one of my favorite things in life. I have, however, always had a real hang up about singing. I love music. I've just never got the hang of singing. And it's been one of these issues that has been a hang up of mine for a long time. Glenn and I did some work on this. I think it was during level 10, so the most recent level, when I was like, okay, this isn't a big deal. It's just something that, I can get out onto stage and I can act and I can do anything on stage. I'm happy as a clam. If I have to sing, I immediately tense and constrict up. This fear, this stage fright overcomes me. And as Glenn knows, being a musician, you can do pretty much anything on stage when you're tense except sing. You have to be relaxed, or else it's not going to come out. So I was told I had to sing in this play. I started working through the energy exercises to address singing. And this morning, our music directors, while we were kind of clearing up the theatre, they said, you know what, we really liked your singing in this play. We need some more people for some a cappella groups that we have going on. Would you, I'll send you the details so you can come along and audition. I have never really been able to sing in my life. And again, I've had to work hard. I've done a lot of exercises recently. I've had to do a lot of work on my voice over the play. But the fact is, for most of my life, I've had this energetic hang up about singing, so I haven't been able to do it. I work through the stuff that Glenn is teaching, and not only did it allow me to sing during the play and not tense up, it allowed me to perform well enough that our music directors, who are really talented, have told me that they like my singing enough that they want me to do it again. The only thing that has changed is the fact that I have applied the stuff that Glenn has taught to basically to an issue that I have. There are many issues that we've been working through. This is just one that happened today. So as you were talking, I was like, this is actually really funny. It's a really good illustration. That the fact is that something that I've wanted to do for a long time, I am now starting to be able to do, because the energy around it has shifted. The energy that I have has moved from fear, insecurity, stage fright. And again, it's not stage fright as an overall thing, because I'm comfortable on stage. It's an energy around a particular aspect of my life, which is about music and singing. I have worked to clear the energy, and immediately my life, a part of my life that's important to me, that is music, has now taken a step forward, because I've done the work. I've applied the stuff that Glenn is teaching. That's just one illustration out of dozens and dozens and dozens that I could give examples of since the time that I've been working with Glenn. So you've got this sale on at the moment. You just gave all the details. Really, all I can say is, of all the things that I have done in my life, and this is not prompted by Glenn. This is just me saying, there is no question in my mind that studying with Glenn and taking these levels has been the most impactful, powerful thing, and the best thing I have ever done for my own happiness, my own development, my own ability to navigate issues in life. This small singing thing that I just mentioned, I never would have been able to tackle that on my own, because it was an insecurity, it was a hang up. And those don't shift unless you learn how to shift energy. So if any of you guys are thinking, okay, should I take advantage of this sale or not? Do. Glenn teaches some stuff in there. One of the techniques that you'll start learning once you've got the foundations down are various sets of techniques called EPR. It's energetic processing and releasing, and that's how to deal with and remove and dissolve all the stuff that you've accumulated over the years. All the roots of your hang-ups, your insecurities, whatever else it is. With everything I have, think it is the most powerful thing that a human being can learn, because it means that you never again, even if you do have to deal with emotional difficulties, which we all do, things get overwhelming for everybody. The fact is, for the first time, you actually have a way to deal with it. You have a way out of the kind of the emotional turmoil that you find yourself in. There is a technique that you can learn to pull yourself up out of the pit. And so you never have to just, kind of close your eyes and hope for the best. You have a way to take back control of your energy, of your emotions, and actually deal with anything that comes your way. So if that's important to you, then do it. It is by far the best thing I've ever done. And the stuff that has, I can never go back to the way I was before, because the stuff that I know now, I will use every day for the rest of my life. Because after several years of working with Glenn, everything I see is energy. Everything I do, every interaction I have, every thought I have, I navigate the world by energy now. And that again, like Glenn said, it's not this new age kind of woo-woo spiritual thing. I have my own spiritual beliefs. It is practical tools for the way that you understand what is happening to you, like outside you, and what is happening inside you, and finding a way to navigate it. So there is nothing else like this on the planet. No one comes close to teaching what Glenn teaches, which I call, because you remember I titled it a while ago, A Unified Theory of Everything, because what Glenn teaches, the kind of framework within which he teaches, there is nothing that you can encounter in life that isn't explained by it. And by understanding it energetically, you understand what the route to navigating it is. It's a theory of everything, because for the first time, everything in life has an explanation underneath it. No matter how bizarre it seems, you can, once you learn how energy works, you can see the energy tracking. So if any of you guys are thinking about doing this, don't think, just do. You'll see from class one, there's nothing else like this on the planet. Dante can attest to the same thing as well. This, and all the guys who you will see working from levels 1 right the way through level 10, there's been a core group of us who've been working on it. You can see us changing and developing and growing as people, throughout the duration of the levels. I look back at myself in the level 2 videos now, and I'm like, wow, because my energy is different. I was a lot more negative. I was a lot more a lot more kind of downbeat. I was wrestling with stuff, I was more emotionally volatile. I just had a lot more low vibration energy. So it's funny to watch the progression over the levels as I've seen, because you see yourself every day, but I look back at the old videos and I've seen my energy levels kind of got, my overall happiness, my ability to deal with stress. Sorry, I've gone on a bit longer than I intended to. The point is,
hey, it's okay. We love to have the British aspect of things. It's always new and unique for us in the States. So how you frame things, Will. So I appreciate that. Thank you. So I guess it worked for you, huh? Basically, that's what you're saying? It worked for you?
Yeah, my one sentence conclusion is this stuff works. So right. I'd recommend doing it.
Great. So just a couple of thoughts here, and then we'll wrap up. Like Will said, you're dealing with these things every day. It's not something new. And that's one of the things that amazed me, is that I was dealing with energy. We're all dealing with energy every moment of our lives, in our health and our money. I mean, you name what's not energy. Even when we sleep, that's an energy exchange too, when we wake up. And when you become aware of just how much you are influenced in your life revolves around energy, it'll blow you away. And then when you can learn how the energies work and what their characteristics are, and the ability to read hidden energies from people, from places, from situations, from activities, things that other people don't know. And that's phenomenal. And that's going to keep you from making the wrong decision. I mean, how much would have been worth to avoid some of the biggest heartaches you ever had? How much would have been worth to have known not to trust somebody that you relied upon that cost you a lot of money or heartache, right? Or what would have been worth to you to be able to avoid some of these big booby traps that you stepped in? And I'm here to tell you, if you'd been energetically aware, you would have been able to see it. So this is cutting edge stuff. And this is why I love sharing it with you people. And that's why I love teaching this. And this is why I make it aware. We give as much stuff away free as I can. We're doing a long conference here, giving you a lot of tools and a lot of different aspects. But if you're serious and you're at a place where, I want to turn my life around, or you're saying, here it is, the year's half over and I haven't gotten what I wanted to do yet, I'm not where I wanted to be. If you need a good swift kick, then give it to yourself and learn energy awareness training. And we have a 30% off special right now. It's for the week here, which is coming to a close here, where you can get all the courses, one or as many as you want, for 30% off the regular price. And as our special, for those of you who really get it and really see the value and want to get started now, we bundle level 1, 2, and 3 together. If you buy that, all 3 of them together at 30% off, we're going to bundle that total. We're going to give you levels 4 and 5 absolutely free. The retail price of level 4, $1,500. Retail price of level 5, $1,500. We're throwing those in if you get levels 1, 2, and 3. So it's powerful. I'm excited. I love sharing the work with people, and we're going to have people on who benefit from the work every week. and just so excited about expanding and hearing the wonderful testimonies and stories that we have here. Okay, Donnie, you want to jump in here and say goodbye to the people?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Will, for sharing, man. That was awesome. Listen, I hate things that aren't practical. I mean, you might be attracted to the woo-woo spiritual side of things for a varying number of reasons. But for me personally, I like things that work, and I like things that are very practical that I can go through and then directly apply to my life to get results. I don't like wasting lots of time on things that, are very fluffy and, might sound good, but how is that translating into more happiness? How is that translating into more money? How's that translating into more opportunity? And this is something that, after a couple sessions with Glenn, I stopped smoking, I stopped drinking. That's directly impacted my life in terms of saving more money, having more health, having more energy, having more mental clarity and focus. So for those of you guys who really see the value, there's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna see this and be like, I don't know. And that's okay. This isn't for everybody. For those of you who really see the value, who really want long lasting and permanent change, energyawareness.secret.com. Thank you again, Will, for coming on here, man. It was awesome having you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
The energy awareness secret, not the singular, energy awareness
secret. Yeah, singular.
Secret.com. We have all the information there and all the course descriptions and what you can learn from all that. And I'd like to thank Will for doing a great job and being a great student. We've got more things to do in the future. And, love and blessings from the UK. We have students in 30 different countries now studying in energy awareness training. So we're very excited to be able to hear, things from Europe, from the Middle East, from Australia, from Asia. It's just, wow, the work's getting out there because it works. Remember, you guys, change your energy, change your life, but nothing changes until energy moves. All right. We'll see you next time. Thanks for everything. Dante, want to take us out?
Yeah, tune in next week, guys. Next Sunday at 11 a.m. We're doing this again. We're going to answer all of your questions. Actually, real quick, Glenn, before we forget, let me go pull up the live stream and see if anybody had any really great questions we could address real quick, just to give a little bit more value. Okay, let's see.
Anybody still on the line? I appreciate you just saying, giving us a shout out. The more comments we have, the more it helps us out. So if you learn something, or if there's something that you want to address or a question you have, please put it down there, because the more comments we have, the more it helps us with the broadcast.
Nothing so far, just plenty. We got 106 comments, a lot, really impactful. Thanks, guys. You are all amazing. Thank you for the info. Yeah, I don't see any questions though. So
great.
Just lots of good responses.
Great. Okay. Well, thanks everybody for being on. We appreciate it. We're going to come back again tonight for a special broadcast. So be looking for us later on tonight. I think we're going to come around 8 Pacific. So until then, you guys have a great day. God bless. Bye for now.